NBA Now is presented by Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com/chat. Get 20% off plus free shipping at checkout, including the brand new Lawnmower 4.0. You don't want to miss it. Manscaped.com/chat. Go ahead and check out all of their men's grooming products. Harrison Graham and Chase Sr. with you. A lot of injury updates and things to get into, Chase, but I want to start with the juicy, playoff. Look at the playoff picture first here, because things are really, really heating up in the NBA. If you're watching live, we'll get into some other things later on. But let's look at the playoff picture, Chase. About a week left in the regular season, maybe 10 days or so.
Yeah, NBA play-in tournament set to tip off on May 18th, NBA playoffs on May 22nd. So NBA regular season, Harrison, it's going to wrap up on May 16th. Of course, the playoff format, a little bit different this year, kind of like it was last year entering the NBA bubble. Top 6 teams in each conference automatically make the playoffs. The 7 through 10 seeds qualify for the play-in tournament, and you've been just killing it with explaining all of this and simplifying it for the people out there.
Yeah, let's just show you the format, and then we'll take a look at the East and then the West. We'll start with the East, and including a team like the Boston Celtics, who are trying to move up the standings here. This is how the play-in tournament works. 7 plays 8, so winner of that game, you're in the playoffs. You're the 7th seed.
There you go.
9 plays 10. Loser of that, you're out. You're gone. So you got 2 teams left. Loser of the 7-8 game, winner of the 9-10 game. They play each other, Chase, and then the winner of that is your number 8 seed. So that's the format in the East. That's the format in the West. Pretty simple. If you can't figure it out, that's about as well as I can explain it. So there you go. Before we get into the playoff picture, we'll start with the East, like I said. Like the video if you're fired up for the NBA playoffs. NBA regular season, it can drag a little bit at times, but come playoff time, Chase, it's a very, very fun part of the season. So like this video if you are pumped for the NBA playoffs. We'll take a look at the Eastern Conference here, Chase. Obviously, right now, the 76ers have that top seed. Just on paper, though, as you guys look at these matchups, Boston, Milwaukee, this is one that really stands out to me because in recent years, Milwaukee hasn't been able to get over the hump, but we know a team like Boston has been good come playoff time.
Yeah, I mean, the Boston Celtics this year have been maddening. They've been inconsistent, and it's been dumbfounding how poorly they've played at times. Now, there are a few reasons for that. They've been crushed by injuries. They've been hit hard by COVID. But I think anytime you have Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown in a playoff series, they can go off and they can carry you in a series. So I look at that 3-6 matchup. The Milwaukee Bucks have a lot of playoff demons. There's no doubt about that, and they have fallen short in years past. There was also a report from Shams that if Mike Budenholzer and the Bucks don't make a deep run, he could be fired. So they're very motivated in that regard. They're also playing hot basketball right now, though. So that's a matchup that I really, really like as we take a look at the Eastern Conference standings.
Yeah, I mean, you saw the matchups there as we sit right now. You look at the conference standings. It looks like Philadelphia is kind of taking a firm grip, about 2.5 games up of Brooklyn. You got the Bucks who are closing in on the Nets, by the way, just a half game back. Knicks and Hawks have been a great story. More on that matchup later on. And then 6 through 10 right here, we mentioned Boston. You look at them and like Miami, those are 2 dangerous lower type of seeds potentially here as we progress along, and then 8 through 10 rounding out the current top 10. 11 through 15 here, 13 through 15 already eliminated. Orlando, Cleveland, and Detroit are out. Chicago and Toronto, they're outside looking in. They pretty much have to win out and get some help to rally and get into the play-in tournament. So, question for you guys, the audience, which team will win the Eastern Conference? Go ahead and get your votes in right now. We don't mean regular season. We mean who's going to rep the East in the NBA Finals. Go ahead and let us know. So we mentioned the Boston Celtics. I'm intrigued by this team and by that matchup that they will have with Milwaukee if things hold as they sit right now. Inconsistency, Chase, that has been the story. Inconsistency and really injury/COVID issues as well.
Yeah, because of that inconsistency, the injuries and COVID, they've been missing a lot of guys in the lineup, which has caused a lack of continuity late in games. And in clutch, close games, they just haven't performed all that well. But going back to my original point, Jason Tatum can play like an MVP. We've seen in stretches this year. He can put the team on his back and carry him. Jaylen Brown also. Some people question the fit. Maybe. We're talking about two guys who are 23 and 24 years old, so let's not hit the panic meter just yet. But I do like the Celtics because of those two guys as well as Brad Stevens.
Yeah, and I think you get them into a 7-game series with a team like the Bucks. Sure, on paper, Milwaukee should be better. Giannis would arguably be the best player in that series, but I wouldn't count out Boston if that happens. That being said, the way Milwaukee's playing right now, they're playing their best basketball at the right time. They've won 4 in a row. They've won 7 out of 10. They're on Brooklyn's heels, moving up for that number 2 seed. The question is, would you rather play Miami or Boston if you're Milwaukee? Because that's maybe what it's going to come down to for the Bucks here.
And you know who's been one of the most underrated players in the NBA, let's say over the last 5-10 years? Drew Holiday, a great two-way guard, and I think the Bucks are what they are this year. They're playing like they're playing at 42 and 24 because of Drew Holiday. He has this calming presence about him, and he's also just a lethal two-way player. I think he's been the difference for Milwaukee.
So Boston, Milwaukee, that would be a very exciting matchup. That's how things sit with those two teams right now. Milwaukee getting very, very close to that number 2 seed. Obviously, the number 1 and number 2 seeds await what happens in the play-in tournament. Could the Celtics pull off the upset if they face Milwaukee? Type U for they could pull off the upset. Type L for nah, they'd lose that series. Let us know in the comments real quick. I think they'd have a chance.
Could they? Yes. Will they? Leaning no right now.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. U for upset or L for lose that series. We mentioned today's show is presented by Manscaped. They've been a longtime partner for us here at Chat Sports, and I got some news for you guys. I'm getting some breaking news from my producer. The Lawnmower 4.0 Chase has come out. This product is fantastic.
See, the good thing is 4 interchangeable guards. So that means you could use one guard to go downstairs, and if your lady likes a 5 o'clock shadow, you can vary it up a little bit.
Landing strip, perhaps?
Maybe a landing strip if you're a dude and you like to go crazy. Also, if you interchange the guard, you see that beard that Harrison Graham is rocking? You can trim that up and keep it tidy as well. I had somebody reach out to me this past week, and they said, is using the Lawnmower 4.0 easier than scissors? All I said, 1,000,000%. I was left speechless. If you can use a great product like this that is on sale, if you use the promo code CHAT, 20% off plus free shipping, it's now on sale, $71.99. Use this instead of scissors, all right? That could end in a disaster.
By the way, the Lawnmower 4.0, it's got a wireless charging system. The ceramic technology is even better than the last product. They just continue to improve their products at Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com/chat. Get 20% off. Go check out the Lawnmower 4.0. It's 20% off when you use that link. Let's take a look further at the Eastern Conference playoff picture. We'll shift to the West in a minute here. We'll go a little faster here, Chase. This is the play-in bracket right now, 7 and 8. We did the explainer earlier. Heat, Hornets, that could be a little bit exciting. And then the Wizards, I think they're dangerous. If they emerge from the play-in, who knows what could happen with the way Westbrook and Beal can fill it up.
They got off to a disastrous start, but really over the last month or two, they've been on a tear, and they've had to play elite basketball because they got off to such a slow start.
The margin of error was so small.
The margin of error was so small. They had so much room to make up. Wizards are really dangerous, not just in the play-in, but when you have Bradley Beal and Westbrook, you can be dangerous in the first round as well.
And if the Wizards make it to the first round, they'll be the 8 seed, and they could be going up against the Philadelphia 76ers, who...
Embiid, Westbrook, they got beef.
And hey, the Sixers are red hot. They've won 6 in a row.
Yeah, Sixers are playing really well right now. Since Embiid has come back, they've been virtually unstoppable. And Doc Rivers has been a huge difference with this team,
no doubt,
as has Tobias Harris. It looked as though last year that contract where he was making 35, 36 average annual value was going to be one of the worst in the NBA. He's redeemed himself this year, and he's been one of the go-to late scoring options for the Sixers. Here's my concern with Philly, though. Who's going to be the go-to scorer late in games? In this era of the NBA, can you rely on Joel Embiid in the post to be the go-to guy down the stretch? Because he's not going to be a guy who's going to break you down off the dribble. And in my opinion, you need a wing. Yeah. Sixers and Nuggets are both in that conversation of, can you go with Jokic? Can you go with Embiid?
And as great as Harris is, he's not a, hey, here's the ball 30 feet from the basket, go break it down.
He's not
really his game. He plays within the flow of the offense. So good regular season team. We'll see come playoff time if this team can make a run. We do think Brooklyn can make a run. The problem is the big three, haven't really played together the entire season. Harden, Kyrie, and Durant have all missed games for various reasons.
This is a scenario we've really never seen before. Not only is this one of the most talented and lethal offensive teams in the history of the NBA with some of the best scorers ever, but we've never seen a scenario where a team like this enters the playoffs having played 7 total games together if James Harden is able to come back in time prior to the playoffs starting on May 22nd. So my big concern, it's cohesion, it's the fact that they haven't played together, and what is James Harden's health? We'll get to it here in a little bit, but I'm a little bit concerned with that.
So speak up. Let us know what you guys think in the comments. Who would win out of these two teams if they played in a 7-game series? Type PHI for the Sixers, BKN for the Nets. Go ahead and get your votes in on this one. Let's break down the Western Conference playoff picture here on Chat Sports. Harrison Graham and Chase Sr. with you. We'll show you the standings to kick things off. Jazz and Suns, they go back and forth at the top. I believe those will be your top 2 seeds in one of those order. Clipper Nuggets, those will be 3 through 4. And then it gets a little tight, Chase. You got the Mavericks at 38 and 28. You got the Lakers and Blazers right now evened up at 37 and 29 with LA having the tiebreaker. And then as you look at 8 through 10 there, especially 8 and 9, as you kind of differentiate those play-in type of teams, it gets really tight, especially for a team like Golden State, who's been battling all year long, led by Steph Curry.
If you just can't wait to get to the playoffs and you want a playoff-type atmosphere, I understand LeBron James is going to be out of the lineup tonight. Lakers at Blazers tonight in Portland.
Let's get it.
Lakers have the tiebreaker right now. That could change. Huge game in the West.
Pelicans and Kings still mathematically alive, but they're going to need some help and to win most of their remaining games. Thunder, T-Wolves, Rockets, they are all eliminated. They are tanking for the draft at this point in the season. So you look at the play-in tournament. Here's how we sit right now. So you got the Trailblazers, you got the Warriors, and specifically with Golden State, it's been a challenge all year. We kept expecting them to fade away, but they just keep finding ways to win some games, Chase. Steph Curry in a 1-game format to make the playoffs, I'm not betting against that guy.
Steph Curry and Dame Lillard in a 1-game play-in, absolutely lit. And as we look at the Golden State Warriors and kind of evaluate them right now, 6-4 in their last 10 games. Most likely, Harrison, I'm thinking they're going to be the 8 or 9 seed. And the reason they've been able to float around 500 or a little bit over 500. Steph Curry has just been unbelievable this year. Without him, they would be like a G League level team.
But with
Steph Curry, look, he's not going to win the MVP. He might, in addition to Chris Paul, might be most deserving of MVP because of the elite level that he has played at this year.
And the way I kind of look at it, and by the way, I totally agree, Warriors-Lakers, which is not out of the question for the play-in, would be unbelievable. But more on Curry as well is, I look at MVP. How many games would your team win without this guy?
Yeah, I'm with you.
I don't know how many, but I'm excited about the potential of this play-in matchup between Steph Curry and LeBron James.
Yeah, just imagine if LeBron James is back healthy, AD is all good with the back and the ankle injury. A play-in game between the Warriors and the Lakers would be electric. It'd be great for the NBA. It'd be great for fans. It'd be great for people like you and I to be able to do a watch party on our Chat Sports channel, but also to watch it because LeBron, Steph going back and forth, not only in that play-in game, but you think about the history between these two teams with those Cavs and Warriors finals matchups.
No doubt.
I'm all for a matchup like that. I think it'd be epic.
So answer this question for us. Will the Warriors get one of the final 2 playoff spots? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Get your votes in on this one. Will Golden State be one of the top 8 seeds after the play-in tournament? Subscribe to us here at Chat Sports. It's youtube.com/ChatSportsTV. Our NBA coverage is starting to ramp back up now that the NFL draft is back in the books. Live shows every Friday. You'll see Chase, myself, sometimes both of us like you have today. And plus, with the playoffs almost here, some watch parties on deck, so stay tuned for those. If you want the latest NBA news, rumors, trades, free agency, offseason, playoffs, this is your place, youtube.com/ChatSportsTV. We take a look here, Chase, at the Western Conference playoff bracket, and we kind of showed you guys the play-in aspect of this. What really stands out here? I think Denver, Dallas, for a couple of reasons. A, Denver keeps winning without Murray. Can that continue into the playoffs? And B, we saw last night Dallas beat a Brooklyn team without Kristaps Porzingis. They're 7-3 in their last 10 games, but those 3 losses all to Sacramento. Which Dallas team's going to show up in the playoffs? What stands out to you in that bracket?
It's that, because we're not sure which Dallas Mavericks team we're going to get. Also,
all LA.
It's the Jazz being able to survive and stay afloat without Donovan Mitchell, but the Denver Nuggets doing the same without Jamal Murray. And how about the Phoenix Suns? Like, the Jazz, the Suns, and the Nuggets, when everybody kind of thought either prior to the season or during the season, they're fake, they're phonies, they've been able to play really good basketball and sustain that all season. That's what stands out to me in addition to the Mavericks.
Let's talk about the Jazz here, because they've been able to be really the number 1 seed since about the 1-month mark of the regular season.
Exactly right.
They got hot early in the year, and they really haven't given it up. And we were breaking down the Donovan Mitchell injury a few weeks ago, and we were like, oh, hopefully it's not too bad. Well, he hasn't played since then, and they're still the number 1 seed.
Yeah, and there's no status as to when Donovan Mitchell is going to come back. So for me, Utah's success all hinges on D-Mitch, who's turned into one of the most lethal young scorers across the NBA. If they do get the number 1 seed, who knows what the fan situation is? I think Utah, the state, a little bit more lenient than other states. Not much of a surprise there. They're 29-4 at home.
Whew,
so if they get
difference.
that number 1 seed, that's something to keep an eye out for. My big concern with the Utah Jazz, they're going to be able to get past the heavyweights in the West, because there are some big heavyweights.
And another one is Phoenix, right?
Yep.
I mean, sure, smaller market, but I think the Chris Paul factor here is, like, I view them as like a Lakers in the Western Conference this year, because you've got CP3. Devin Booker's probably better suited as a number 2 at this point in his career. Ayton continues to develop. Bridges is a nice piece. This is a nice roster, and they found the right coach in Monty Williams, in my opinion. I may like the Phoenix Suns better than Utah come playoff time.
You saw this greatness blossoming in the NBA bubble last year when they went a perfect 8-0 and really took the league by storm. Didn't make the playoffs, but generated some conversation. I think Phoenix has it all, and this is my take real quick on the Chris Paul effect. And I'm going to continue to hammer down on this. I mean, he's done for the Phoenix Suns what Tom Brady has done for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Has completely changed the culture, and you see that in the eyes and the competition level and the confidence of the Suns.
So Phoenix and Utah, not teams that we would be normally accustomed to making deep playoff runs, but hey, it's 2021. Things are weird. Type 1 for yes, type 2 for no. Can one of these smaller market teams make the finals? I think we're in agreement. They absolutely can. Will they? That's the question that we can't wait to find out. So go ahead and get your votes in. So you look closer at some of these other matchups. Again, the Jazz will play one of those play-in teams, combination of Golden State, Memphis, Portland, or LA. If one of those teams fall into that situation, we'll have to wait and see. We mentioned Denver, Dallas. I think that could be a 6-7 game banger in the playoffs. We'll have to wait and see. And then obviously the all-LA matchup, right? We'll spend a couple moments here on the Lakers and the Clippers. As things sit right now, this would be the 3 versus 6 matchup. This is very interesting because coming into the year, you would say this is your conference finals. They might play in the first round due to injuries with the Lakers.
Yeah, there are playoff demons flying in the rafters of the Staples Center for the Los Angeles Clippers. Not for the Lakers. They won the ship last year. They have 17 titles as a franchise. But the Clippers just haven't been able to get over the hump.
Nope.
And last year, it was a really ugly out in the NBA playoffs. They were up 3-1 in that series, and they couldn't close the deal. So that mentality, those memories, do they continue to haunt the Clippers against the team that's had their numbers and owns Los Angeles? Possibly. I don't think LeBron, can you imagine LeBron James going out in the first round of a playoff series?
It'd be weird.
Yeah.
It'd be very, very weird. So get your votes in come playoff time. Who is the better LA team? Type LAL for the Lakers or type LAC for the Clippers.